to that Nicole Murphy had relations with your ex-husband. Were you two friends?
Mm-hmm. Birthday parties. I've been to her house. She was at my bachelorette party. But you know what? At that time, my mother told me then. She said, but you got to watch that one there. And I was like, who? I said, the one dancing. She said, yes, that's Eddie Murphy's wife. She said, you got to watch that one.
Current wife at the time or ex at the time?
I want to say, I think she was still married. They were still married. And I was like, no, And so, when your mom tell you something about new school, you feel like you old school,
Nicole Murphy, you're disgusting. You sat on that couch and you laughed. It ain't no moment. It's a mess. You wrong for that. You the type of women that let these men be evil. They gotta have some help, and women like you are there.
Nobody expected this to resurface. Not like this, not this loud, and definitely not this ugly. Just when Hollywood thought the past was buried deep enough to stay quiet. One name sent shockwaves through celebrity circles again. Nicole Murphy. And this time, insiders say it wasn't just silence or denial. It was mockery, laughter, a cold, careless dismissal of pain that never healed. Because while Lisa Red has spent years standing on her truth, refusing to rewrite history to make anyone comfortable, sources claim Nicole has been privately brushing it all off like a joke that refuses to die. And that's what pushed this situation from messy to nuclear. This wasn't just about an affair. This wasn't just about a marriage that fell apart. This was about friendship, about sitting in someone's home, celebrating milestones, smiling for pictures, and allegedly crossing the one line you never crossed, then acting like time should erase the damage. Old interviews started circulating again. Clips people forgot they ever saw suddenly felt brand new. Lisa Raye's words hit harder now because the receipts aged well. And when cryptic posts started popping up online, fans didn't miss the message. They heard it loud and clear. Behind closed doors, insiders say conversations turned vicious. Alleged voice notes leaked. Deems surfaced. And one chilling claim began spreading fast. Nicole didn't feel bad, she felt inconvenienced. Social media erupted instantly. Teams were formed. Sides were chosen. And just like that, a year...
I know, trust me, Wendy. Trust me, I wish it didn't happen.
Okay, repeat where this happened.
Well, I think it was a moment where I should have thought more through the situation, made better judgments, So it's something that I apologize for. What happened was there was a statement that was released. I did not put out that statement. I was actually on the airplane. And I was back from Europe.
They were in Italy at a film festival.
Yes.
And allegedly...
But I was out there for business.
Okay.
There was some designers out there as well, so I was dealing with that.
Okay.
There was familiar faces out there. And it happened.
Where did this happen?
I was in Italy.
No, I mean, where did that happen right there? Because you all looked like you just woke up in the morning.
No, we did not.
Your body looks
phenomenal.
phenomenal.
First of all, I was at the pool. Okay. We're on a different time zone. I was having a hard time staying awake. I was drinking an espresso. That's it.
Okay, and you leaned in.
It was a moment that should not have happened. I regret it, and I apologize for it.
A years-old betrayal became the most explosive conversation in Hollywood all over again. Because when the person accused of destroying your home laughs about it later, that wound never closes. And the truth is, this story was never finished, was just waiting for the right moment to explode. What made this situation unbearable wasn't the rumor. It was the confirmation that followed it everywhere Lisa Red went. She never wavered, never softened the story, never pretended it didn't happen just to keep the peace. According to those closest to her, the betrayal cut so deep because Nicole Murphy wasn't a stranger orbiting the edges of her life. She was inside it.
That she had called the paparazzi to take the pictures of her.
That's what I thought anyway.
And that this is not the first time she's done it. Boop. And that the reason why she's doing it is because she, in fact, actually does want to be with him.
Of course.
And she, in fact, if they're kissing like that, they f***ing.
What are the odds that these two black people would be in Italy and run into each other if they did not leave America to go to Italy together?
And what are the odds that paparazzi does not check in for either one of them is going to find them in some remote place in Italy to take pictures?
The foreign paparazzi. Hey, isn't that this director who we don't ever see and Nicole Murphy who we don't ever see? Oh yeah, let's take their picture right now while they're kissing.
Exactly. And let them kiss multiple times to make sure that the paparazzi gets it.
Throughout the day.
Throughout
2
the
days. In the robes.
Right.
In the swimwear.
In your robes.
Like they were just waiting for y'all.
So that's what I was hearing, and that's what I didn't report because I was trying to be like, that's my girl. And in Love Muffins, if you don't believe that, go back to a couple of podcasts ago, or maybe more than a couple, like 8 podcasts ago, when I was talking about this, you were going in on her.
I was.
And I was pumping the brakes.
You were.
I was like, no, I was doing that. I was just, I'm just reaching for everything, trying to not.
I'm like, that hussy.
Yeah. Not to really expose her for being the lying scallywag that she is.
What I call her, a Jezebel.
Birthday parties, private gatherings, weddings, bachelorette celebrations. The kind of access only trusted friends receive. And that's why when Lisa Red discovered what was happening behind her back, it didn't feel like heartbreak. It felt like humiliation. Insiders claim Lisa Red didn't want to believe it at first. She confronted Nicole quietly, woman to woman, expecting honesty. What she allegedly received instead was denial, followed by distance. Calls unanswered. Messages ignored. And when proof finally surfaced, the
woman and you grown, let's handle it like a woman. Let's talk face to face and let's get it out. But here's the thing. I sat with her a couple of months ago, longer than a couple of months ago, about 6 months ago. And
This was after the alleged affair?
Before.
Okay.
And I said, let's talk about it because I waited a very long time for you and I to get like this right here, face to face, you know. And
no, she's talking about Nicole, not me.
Right.
Relax.
And we had a good conversation because she said to me, you know what? We're two older women that look good that's in the business. I hate this. And I do too, because I hate when we can't bridge the gap.
The silence spoke louder than any confession ever could. Friends say that was the moment Lisa Red realized the friendship had never meant the same thing to both of them. Years passed. But the story never disappeared. It just went dormant. Nicole moved on publicly, reinventing her image, aligning herself with new circles, new narratives, new sympathies. Meanwhile, Lisa Red carried the weight quietly until interviews began, pulling the truth back out of her. Each time she spoke, the internet reacted like it was hearing the story.
So what happened exactly?
Just what you said. She messed around with my husband. Here's the thing. We've all done something that we regret. We've all made mistakes and we all have to learn from that. But when you start doing it and being messy enough to do it amongst family, how does a family kiss turn into a I'm sorry apology? Like, what do you mean? You didn't know that she was married? We all know that she was married. And that was 20 years. That's history. You don't do that amongst friends.
Right.
Because there's no loyalty.
Right.
There's no loyalty, and you got to look up, and your person that you invited to your house and you celebrating your birthdays and going to games with, you got to look up and they're in Italy with your husband.
Right.
Nicole have reportedly been close friends for years, and they travel in the same circle.
And my thing is this, Prosh, you're not talking about it all the time. That's that friendship stuff.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Well, but listen, the whole internet's on fire about it. Even your sister, the brat, Lisa Ray McCoy, jumped in social media and said, girl, Nikki Murphy, you went after Leela Rashawn's husband too? Shaking my head so wrong again.
Ooh, wait, hold on.
So what's the fine print of the tea? Like, did she go after Lisa Ray's husband when she was married to the...
Absolutely. When my sister was the first lady of Turks and Caicos, absolutely.
Story for the first time. And every time, Nicole said nothing until recently, according to multiple insiders. The tone shifted when Lisa Ray's latest comment.
Nicole Murphy had relations with your ex-husband. Were you two friends?
Mm-hmm. Birthday parties. I've been to her house. She was at my bachelorette party. But you know what? At that time, my mother told me then. She said, you know, but you got to watch that one there. And I was like, who? I said, the one dancing. She said, yes, that's Eddie Murphy's wife. She said, you got to watch that one.
Current wife at the time or ex at the time?
I want to say I think she was still married. They were still married. And I was like, no, you know. And so, you know, when your mom tell you something about new school, you feel like you old school, you know. And she was right.
How did you find that out?
I had checked the manifest of my plane because we owned a plane. And so when you check that list, it says all the people that have rolled on the plane. And she didn't ride on it with me, and nor did she receive an invitation from me. So if you had a girlfriend that has her own island, I would think that you would call and say, hey, girl, I'm coming, because I was getting everybody to come. So why you would accept an invitation from him and you don't even know him is unbeknownst to me. I don't know how that could happen. Do you? I guess not.
I never owned a private plane or
not that part.
No, I don't know, but meaning, yes, this is too rich for me. The manifest of the list, like, damn. So you saw her name on the list.
Mm-hmm. And I tried to call her. And, at first she said, no, I haven't been to Turks and Caicos. I have not been. And it was like, well, wait a minute, And then I called again, and then she stopped answering the phone. So at the time she was dating, at this time,
Michael
when
Strahan?
I found out, she was dating Michael Strahan. So I called him. And I said, hey, do you know anything about this? And, we talked or whatever. And I said, well, let me send you a tape that I have of proof, And so I did.
What tape? What was on the tape?
It was a tape of her and Michael, where she was dropping Michael off at the private airport in her car. And they opened the gate and they pulled up to the plane, and she gets out and he gets out, and I go, oh, I didn't know y'all knew each other. And I'm going to leave it right there, because that part is my business. The other part is someone else's business, which I've never, would speak on. But for me, that was enough. It was like, wow, I'm going to whoop your ass.
Me too.
Friends don't do that now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I would think an enemy would do, or somebody that I just don't know. But someone that you have to watch your girl. Where I come from, south side of Chicago, that's the name.
Comments went viral again. Clips reached millions. Sympathy poured in. And that's when Nicole allegedly snapped. Sources claim she felt attacked, tired of being labeled, tired of being blamed. Tired of being dragged for something she believed should have stayed buried. One alleged message passed around quietly among industry insiders claimed Nicole said she needs to move on. I already did. That sentence alone ignited outrage. Then came the posts. Carefully chosen lyrics. Carefully framed videos. No names mentioned, but no confusion.
No, social media took on a mountain of its own. And like I said, listen, it said I broke up somebody's marriage, which is absolutely false. I never did that. There was a statement released by that ex-husband saying it's false. And
you're talking about when Lisa Raye got involved and said you slept with her husband.
Yes, and it's not true.
No, she talked real breezy on social media.
I know, it's not true. First of all, her husband released a statement.
That was the Turks and Caicos king.
Yes, saying it's not true.
Yeah, I saw that.
Nobody focused on that issue. No one, they just focused on
bed with rocks.
Confusion either. Fans immediately clocked it as shade. The comment sections turned brutal. Some accused Nicole of mocking a woman whose home was destroyed. Others said Lisa Red was clinging to the past. The divide grew uglier by the hour. Behind the scenes, sources say Lisa Red was livid. Not emotional, not messy, but resolute. She allegedly told friends she refused to be gaslit into silence. According to her, the truth doesn't expire just because it makes someone uncomfortable. And once that resolve hardened, more details started leaking out. Old conversations resurfaced. People who stayed quiet for years suddenly felt safe speaking up. One insider claimed this wasn't the only time Nicole blurred boundaries within her friend group. Another alleged pattern, not a mistake. Social media chaos followed immediately. Twitter wars raged nonstop. Bloggers dug deeper. Reaction videos exploded. Celebrity acquaintances subtly unfollowed, liked cryptic comments, and chose sides without ever saying a word. The tension became impossible to ignore. Then came the most damaging rumor yet, that there was physical proof Lisa Red once used to confront Nicole. Proof so convincing it ended relationships instantly. Allegedly, that evidence was shown to a man Nicole was dating at the time. leading to a sudden breakup that never made sense publicly until now. Whether true or not, the rumor alone sent shockwaves through the timeline. Nicole's camp pushed back hard. They claimed grief, exhaustion, and unfair targeting. They insisted she was being blamed for a marriage that was already broken. But critics weren't buying it. They argued that no matter how flawed a marriage is, a friend crossing that line becomes part of the damage. And mocking the pain afterward only confirms the lack of remorse. As the story escalated, Lisa Raye's supporters grew louder. They praised her consistency, her refusal to rewrite history, her strength in standing alone when everyone else wanted the mess swept under the rug. Meanwhile, Nicole's silence grew heavier. Because silence doesn't always mean innocence. Sometimes it means strategy. Now the industry is watching closely, because rumors suggest one final piece of evidence may still surface. Something recorded, something undeniable, something that would make denial impossible. Whether it drops or not, the damage is already done. Reputations have shifted. Sympathy has landed where it landed. And the truth is, this story isn't about who won, it's about who refused to own what they did. And in Hollywood, that's the kind of scandal that never truly fades. If you're still here, and you already know this story isn't just gossip, it's a warning. Hollywood doesn't forget, and neither does the internet. What starts as whispers always turns into receipts. And the people who think time will protect them are usually the ones caught off guard when the truth circles back louder than ever. So don't scroll past. This moment like it doesn't matter. Hit that like button because engagement decides which stories stay buried and which ones get exposed. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Lisa Raye had every right to keep telling her truth? Or do you think Nicole deserves peace by now? Your voice is part of what keeps these conversations alive. And most importantly, subscribe right now. Because when the next clip leaks, when the next insider speaks, when someone finally breaks their silence and confirms what really happened behind closed doors, you don't want to hear about it secondhand. You want to be right here when it happens. Missing this isn't just missing drama. It's missing the moment everyone will be arguing about tomorrow.